Welcome to For Your Amusement, a theme park podcast that aims to exhaustively evaluate the world's most popular theme park attractions to determine if they are world class. I'm Ryan Bergara.
I'm Byron Marin.
And for this episode's featured attraction, we preview a whole-ass theme park, folks. We're talking about the big dog, Epic Universe. And joining us in Celestial Park is the one person that kept all of us little piggies fed during this time of speculation. I'm, of course, talking about Alicia Stella from Theme Park Stop. Thank you for joining us on the pod, Alicia.
I'm very excited to be here. Anytime anyone starts talking about Epic Universe, I will materialize in the room.
Yeah, you're like Candyman. If we say Epic Universe 3 times in the mirror, you'll slowly appear behind us.
Yes.
It would have felt like a sin having anyone else, I think,
it truly
discuss this park.
You have single-handedly put the entire theme park community on your back. We did not have any information to go off of this theme park, even though it was announced, 2019, 18?
2019. I started covering it in 2018, which is amazing because, no one believed me. And a local news station actually reached out and they're like, we believe you. And they wanted me to do a show off all the permits and stuff. And it had got no traction because it wasn't announced yet.
There is actually this hilarious meme. I don't know if you've seen it. I believe it's one of those memes of a guy whispering something into a girl's ear at a party, and she's just kind of going slack jawed because it's just not interesting. But it's this guy. He's like, so anyways, there's this lady online. She looks up permits, and there's another guy who I think he has a drone, and he takes photos with it. And together they kind of form this super team to that they keep me all updated on Epic Universe. And it's basically, have you seen that? There's a lot of versions of those memes.
Yeah, I think that was from Hal Bowers. That's BioReconstruct, by the way, uses a helicopter, which makes it even more difficult because he's literally in that helicopter with a point and shoot camera zooming all the way in. Not like a drone, which stands still. So the amount of talent that he's putting forth there for us to bring us those photos.
It's incredible. I salute them. I don't know who it is.
A superhero, local superhero.
How do you think Universal feels about the BioReconstruct? Because they have never commented on it, right?
No. When it comes to what he does and what I do, no comment.
Yeah, I wonder.
Universal would rather probably announce things on their own schedule, but with Universal's schedule, things are already open by the time they announce it.
Yeah, so I think they've even had inside jokes of having the worst kept secrets for some of their. I think they've said that themselves. But then again, there's so much hype getting generated and excitement amongst park fans that maybe on the other hand, it's well, okay, we're getting years of extra maybe free advertising or.
No,
I think that's how the fans look at it. The fans look at it as yeah, but you're getting us all excited about it. And I think Universal probably looks at it as well, they would have got excited about it anyway when we announce it. And I'm yeah, but the window is so short when you guys announce it. Let us enjoy this. Besides, what are we going to not talk about an entire theme park being built?
It's
crazy. We're just going to ignore it over there for 4 years?
Because we've never had anything close to being like this now with the amount of technology and the research information.
No, it's absolutely insane. We've had beautifully rendered modern lands that are built, in the past, decade. We're talking about Cars Land, Galaxy's Edge, all the Wizarding Worlds. But we've never had a park that did that for every single land. The entire park is going to be that. I can't get over it. It's been a while since I've had the great pleasure of going to a completely new theme park, but there's really nothing better.
Your entire day is dedicated to all new stuff.
Previously, the only way I could even get a semblance of that, a sniff of it, if you will, is vicariously. If I brought a friend who had never been to Disneyland or something before, then I could kind of feel oh, I'm seeing it through the eyes of this person who's experiencing it all at once. And I might pass out once I go through the Chronos.
For me, I don't get out of Orlando. So for me, it's Disney's Animal Kingdom and Islands of Adventure. And we're talking over 2 decades ago, 25, 26 years ago was the last time I got to enjoy an entirely new theme park. And that kind of what set me down this road. Like, I'm obsessed with theme parks because I got to go to like the team member and cast member previews for those parks.
Oh man.
Just seeing a whole new theme park for the first time. And I'm like, this wasn't here a few years ago.
It's absolutely
And I've kind of I've been waiting for this moment to get that feeling again.
That's so good. There's really nothing quite like it.
Meanwhile, we got California Adventure in 2001.
Yeah. What a
banger.
What a banger that was.
One day that park will be complete though,
One day. I have a couple more questions for you here, but before we get into that, we don't typically do this on this podcast, but if you like the podcast, go ahead and like and subscribe if you're watching on youtube.com/watcherpodcasts, or subscribe and rate the podcast 5 stars if you're just listening, or tell a friend. It helps keep this podcast alive. We don't typically ever ask folks to do this, and I realized lately that maybe we should ask folks to do this a little bit more, because oftentimes when you watch a YouTube video, or when I am, the creator will be like, hey, why don't you, if you like the video, like and subscribe, it helps me. And I'm always like, oh, sweet, okay, I'll do that. So I don't know why I had an aversion to that. Maybe it was foolish pride, but it would help a lot. Anyways, moving on to the questions. What is your current excitement level at right now out of 10?
Oh, no, I've been at an 11 for 3 years.
How do you sustain that?
Caffeine mostly.
Fair.
No, by being immersed in it nonstop. I'm looking at the permits. I'm looking at the patented technologies. I'm looking up the trademarks to know what all the names of the rides are going to be. I'm scrolling the forums nearly all day long. I'm on Twitter for some reason still. So following all the right people. So I am eat, sleep, dream, breathe Epic Universe nonstop.
And thank God, we're all the better for it. I actually theorized that you must have been some sort of private investigator to be able to track down all of these permits and patents. Is that something that you just had a know-how to do beforehand, or did you start that because of this journey?
Both. I don't know. I don't mind legalese. For some reason, I find comfort in reading convoluted text. Oof. So going through government documents is fun. Something wrong with me.
It's a high sedative for me.
But it has to be a subject that I care about. And so I never really needed to go through government documents. But now that there's something I care about, and I'm every single day, refresh all these different websites. And thankfully, Florida has the Information Act. So we got lots of public information.
Oh.
And anytime you build a new structure, you have to show those plans. So at the old parks, if they refurbish something, if they build something where something else would once stood, they'll keep a fraction of a wall standing and they'll call it a refurbishment, and you won't get these detailed plans published publicly. So, but when a new park is being built from dirt, you get to see all of it.
That's incredible. I wonder if there's some Universal exec that's always just another leak from Stella. Damn you, Stella! Stella! Just cursing the heavens. I know it's hard to toot your own horn, but I'm gonna ask you to get to tootin' right here, okay. Which is, I probably could have worded that better. But how many things have you guessed correctly at this point?
Okay, so a couple weeks ago when they announced all of Celestial Park,
yes,
the center of Epic Universe, and the names of all the lands. Every single one of them I had said before.
I know. I saw
every single one.
When they released that video, you were the first person I thought of. And I was like, oh my God, this is the chickens coming home to roost. She fucking nailed it. Every single detail she had already said to us. That must have felt incredible.
The splash pad. I've said the name of the splash pad before.
That's insane.
Of all things. I don't like saying I told you so, or tooting my own horn or anything, but it's weird. It was surreal. I couldn't sleep for a few days because these are words that I've been saying out of my mouth for years.
For sure.
And people question it. The name of the Harry Potter land is Ministry of Magic, but the land takes place in the Fantastic Beast Paris. And people are always leaving comments on the YouTube video, why would they name the land after the ride? And why would the ride take place in Britain, but the land take place in France? And I'm look, I'm just reporting this. I didn't design it. And then when they announced it as those two things, everyone is I can't believe you were right. And I was I can't believe I was right. It's absurd that I was right on such a weird design, but yeah, it's vindicating, but at the same time, it's also surreal. because it's been so long since 2019. They announced the park. They showed us their concept art, and now they announced the lands. That's a big gap.
It's crazy. And I mean, that's what I'm saying. For those of you who are listening, I should have said this up top, but Alicia Stella, I mentioned she runs Theme Park Stop from 2019 or 2018 apparently till now. Like she had just mentioned, there had been a gap between the announcement of the park and actual details being confirmed. And she has just been working the streets from that time until now, releasing every little tidbit of information. And it's almost 100% correct. And you're a better human than me. If the day that official announcement video came out and everything that I had said was going to happen was confirmed to have happened, I would have had a live stream in which I just flicked off the camera for 24 straight hours with a big banner behind me that just said, "I told you so." And you're so much more gracious than I would have been. It's got to be incredible. Because I do this
for the fun of it. Even if I wasn't like making videos or doing podcasts or talking online, or like, I would still be doing this. I'm obsessed.
I get
whether or not y'all share in my love with it.
Oh no, we are weirdos as well.
So when I see it all get confirmed, it's not so much, oh my God, I was right. It's, oh my God, it's happening. Like, I'm just like sharing in the joy of it being real.
No, I got to tell you, and this is not going to come to a shock of many of our listeners / viewers. This podcast is not exactly making us into a Scrooge McDuck, jumping into a money pit. This is not a financially viable podcast. It's only because we are obsessed with this and we need somewhere to bounce this crazy energy off of. Otherwise, we'll just accost anybody at any party we're at with like details of patents.
Right. People always say, like, why did you start the podcast? And it's like, because my wife was sick of hearing about Epic Universe.
My wife too.
Like, yeah, it's like she couldn't take it anymore. And like I'm just talking through her at this point, and I'm like, wait, why? You're not even interested. I need to find people. I need to find my people so that I can like talk with them. And so I honestly, out of everything, like that's been the most magical thing, because there's a good community.
That's incredible.
Like everyone you've had on your show, they're all like friends of mine. Like we all know each other. It's kind of it's weird when you're in a room with all the other YouTubers who do the like theme park stuff, because we all hear each other's voices, but like we're like detached from our own heads. So it's like hearing Kevin like Defunctland talk, like, but in a room just like talking about like snacks or something. And I'm like, this is so weird.
No, I was legit starstruck when we had Defunctland on here, because I've been watching him for years as well. And honestly, it's a similar experience to right now. You've done a great service. It's kind of cool to meet somebody who is as passionate about theme parks as you are, because it's an immediate shorthand you have with them. Like you already have this community that you're in that moment. You have this great thing in common where otherwise you would be strangers.
Right.
It's fantastic. But anyways, this episode is obviously a little bit different. We're covering an entire theme park that hasn't even opened yet. So some of our normal sections will be a little altered, and I'll call it out when they are. And in case you're wondering, yes, there will be world-class tests at the end of this episode. I'm sure you're like, how the hell is that possible? We're going to make it possible with an Epic Universe twist. And it's going to be that new sound you're looking for, if you will. Anyways, that's...
Here at For Your Amusement, we are kids at heart, and one of my favorite memories was Saturday morning cartoons and cereal. Meow, while cartoons have grown with us, it seems like cereal just didn't. As I got older, I had to watch out for sugar and empty carbs. But thankfully, Magic Spoon has the amazing flavors you love, but with high protein and less sugar. Magic Spoon's variety pack comes with 4 flavors, which are cocoa, fruity, frosted, and peanut butter. This pack has 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and 4 to 5 grams of net carbs, and only 140 calories per serving. It's high protein, has 0 grams of sugar, keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, and soy-free. Go to magicspoon.com/FYA to grab a variety pack and try it today. And be sure to use our promo code FYA at checkout to save $5 off your order. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it is backed with an 100% happiness guarantee. So, if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money. No questions asked. Remember, start the new year off right with a delicious bowl of high-protein cereal at magicspoon.com/FYA and use code FYA to save $5 off. Thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this episode. Yeah, back to the show.
Let's move on to the history, though.
Okay, first off, I understand that I might as well be a finance bro explaining finances to Warren Buffett when going over the history of Epic Universe, but here we go. May 28th, 1999, Universal opens Islands of Adventure officially, becoming Universal's much-needed second gate at their growing Orlando resort.
We are proud to unveil Universal Studios Islands of Adventure.
But what most people didn't know at the time was that Universal had purchased a massive additional plot of land from Lockheed Martin, an aerospace development and manufacturing company, just a few miles south of their two theme parks, with the intention of growing their resort even further in hopes of better competing with the enormous expanse of Walt Disney World. However, the early 2000s were not kind to Universal, which was at the time a subsidiary of General Electric and Vivendi, which is a French mass media holdings company. Apologies if I mispronounced that. The financial stress generated through this shifting ownership pushed them into selling back the land that they had purchased in the 90s. But in 2011, Comcast comes in and buys a 51% stake in NBC Universal and snags up the remaining 49% in 2013, coming in with intentions of expanding the Universal Orlando Resort. In 2017, they opened Volcano Bay, a water park featuring state-of-the-art queuing and serving as the resort's third advertised park.
Hey man, that park fucking rules. You watch your mouth.
Hey, I love it.
I love that
It's interesting that, Disney World has 2 water parks, but they call it a 4-park.
Excellent lazy river there.
It is. Volcano Bay, I think, is the best water park, though, I've ever been to.
I think it is for me as well. You could order drinks on the beach and they'll just bring them to you.
You could just float around in a lazy river and wait for your little, what do they call it?
Your return time for your little wristband?
Tapu.
Your tapu.
By this point, Universal had already repurchased roughly 750 acres of the massive plot of land that they had lost in 2003. In July of 2018, Comcast confirms the development of a 4th gate at the Universal Orlando Resort over an earnings call, but it wouldn't be announced publicly until August 1st, 2019 by Tom Williams, who was at the time chairman and CEO of Universal Parks and Resorts. Officially titled Universal's Epic Universe, the new park's announcement was also completed with a 2023 target opening date, as well as a beautiful piece of concept art that would immediately draw in the excited, squinting eyes of theme park and Universal fans.
It's going to blow your mind. Yeah, I don't know how else to put it.
Unfortunately, in 2020, the world would get hit with COVID-19, resulting in Epic Universe construction pausing work in July of that year. But on March 3rd, 2021, Universal announced on their blog that construction was to continue immediately. But still, the construction delay and perhaps other variables at play led Comcast to push the target opening date to summer of 2025. On March 8th, 2023, Universal announced a name change, only dropping the apostrophe S and keeping it simply Universal Epic Universe. The following
Drop
year...
the S, it's cleaner.
There you go.
Facebook, nice.
The following year would be left up to speculation amongst Park and Universal fans, many of whom worked together tracking patents, studying maps, documenting progress, and using various information outlets to share in the excitement together and begin to celebrate the possible experiences being built right before our very eyes. January 30th, 2024, Universal releases an official park preview video via YouTube, led by now Chairman and CEO of Universal Destinations and Experiences, Mark Woodbury, featuring an overview of all the lands and the many attractions featured within, which guests will be guided to via the Chronos entryway that leads to an exciting display of portals which have materialized in thanks to a special alignment of planets.
I gotta say, it is genuinely thrilling to be doing a history section and the history is still being written at the moment. Like the fact that last bullet point happened a mere couple weeks ago.
Yeah, pretty weird.
It's so bizarre. I can't believe it's happening. We're in the middle of it.
We're in it. This is now. This is, yeah.
I know.
It's around us.
This is the first time that it felt like a to be continued.
I can't believe it. We're going to have to do a retrospective on this, like after we go to the park. Because that is
a good debrief.
A good debrief. And I will say I am a little worried about overhyping it too much in my head because I tend to do that. But I can't imagine this thing doesn't deliver. I just can't, based on everything I've seen.
I mean, not to jinx it, but it is the internet. So I'm sure there will be plenty that come after me and be like, you've been building this up for so long, and then it's just a normal theme park? Like, I thought it was going to, like, give me gold, and I was going to, like, I was going to have the best time of my entire life. I thought it was going to change everything.
It did give you
Meanwhile,
gold.
like, I'm going to walk in and, like, tears streaming down my face, like, no matter what. It could suck. It could be completely terrible. I'm still going to, like, it still exists, and that in and of itself is exciting.
Yeah, I can't think of many things that I've been excited about for this amount of time, and then I get to actually see them realized. And because of you, Alicia, I now know all of the stuff that went into the planning of it. So it's almost like I felt like I was kind of a fly on the wall in the conception of this park. And to, like, when you hear these big ideas, I don't operate in like a world where you can hear big ideas like this and then actually see them come to fruition. So it just feels like we're along for the ride. And I don't think that's because of Universal. That's because of you, which is amazing. So I'm just excited. I just can't wait. And does that do it for the history, Byron?
I mean, that's where we're at. Alicia, if there's any big, I'm sure I've missed plenty of.
The only thing that you left out is back in 99, they released the early plans for what they were going to do with that land. And it did have 2 theme parks and a lot of golf courses. So many golf courses that I think you need to mention the golf courses. It's very important.
That's
like,
funny.
They were obsessed back then.
It's funny because I had it written in there and then I reduced it to let's just compete with Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what, am I going to write golf courses in the history? But that's so true.
It was shocking. There was like theme park, golf, hotel.
Yeah, I don't know. I love golf, but do we really need all these golf courses? Put more theme parks. You should take out every golf course in America and put a theme park there instead. Let's move on to some fun facts and basics. These are things that have been confirmed for the most part. As far as we could tell, they're either official from Universal, and if not, I won't say that. Let's go through some of these bad boys. And as I said before, Alicia, feel free to add some whenever you'd like, or to say, hey, that's not a fact. First fact we're going to go through here is the park cost, and this one is very nebulous. The park apparently cost $550 million to build, which seems insanely low, especially considering...
It's not right.
There's no way.
It's not right. Because do you want the actual number?
Oh, I have other ones here, and I wanted to see if even these... I have 2 other ones, and I want to see if even those are right. Because Rise of the Resistance alone cost about $450 million. So 550 is out of control. Other reports have the park coming in at $1 billion, and others say $3 to $4 billion. What have you heard?
5.9.
That still feels low to me. Is that crazy?
It could be. That doesn't include the road work. It doesn't include, it might not even include the 2 hotels across the street. I'm not sure. If we're just talking about the proper, like, actual theme park proper, it might not include, like, the land acquisition, the development of surrounding areas.
It can't. There's no way.
The Shingled Creek, the water management, all those things are probably separate. Just the theme park, the lands, and the licensing alone is, like, close to $7 billion, $6 billion, $7 billion. The reason people keep misattributing things is that in a Comcast earnings call, they only say what they're spending this year. And they never say how much of that is allocated to Epic Universe. They usually say we're spending $1.2 billion in the blah, blah, blah fiscal year 2023, with most of that going to Epic Universe's construction. And because it's year by year, you have to add them all up. And when you add them all up, then you get the total sum. And I think people, like even business newspapers and stuff, are reporting just that year's billion. And I don't even know where the 550 came from. That is way off base. It costs $500 million alone to license Harry Potter.
You know what's? Is the reason that they don't outwardly say it, especially in these shareholder meetings, is because they don't want to worry shareholders about the cost?
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah. That has to be. I knew there was some evil reason. It's like the Disney
thing of spreading out the construction as long as possible so that on the books it looks like you only spent a little bit, because it's like, bit by bit. This is just like tricky. Never say how much you're spending all at once. It was scare them, but I just did. So I apologize if I've scared anyone who's a shareholder at Comcast. But it's spread out.
I hate to break it to you, Alicia. There's no shareholders listening to For Your Amusement. And if they are, I
if they are, they are so optimistic about this park that they're like, we're going to get it back. Now we're talking about like a $7+ billion park, and that's the most expensive. Because I was thinking what was the most expensive park built before this? Was it Disney Sea maybe with $4 billion or?
I don't know, because with inflation, everything's like
true.
probably Universal Beijing that was I think came in similarly.
I want to go so bad.
$5 billion. So it's incredibly similar to that, which was not that long ago. It literally just opened 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. So I think it's similar to that. And anyone who's reporting on Epic Universe's figures, look at what they spent at Beijing. It's nearly the same like scale project. Even the number of hotels, the road work, all of it is similar scale. So if that costs 5 point something, why wouldn't this cost 5 point something?
For sure. And here's a little, just for folks who aren't too familiar with the weeds of what's going on with Epic Universe, here's a little everything you kind of need to know, the basics. I'm going to go through them here. Alicia, feel free to correct me or add some as we go here. This massive park will have 4 portals, 1 central hub called Celestial Park. The 4 portals are as follows, and these are confirmed: Super Nintendo World, How to Train Your Dragon, Isle of Berk, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Ministry of Magic, and last but not least, my favorite, Dark Universe. Each portal will have a little saying on them, a little inscription as you go under the portal entries, which are going to be pretty sweet. On How to Train Your Dragon, it's going to be, we, my friends, have dragons. Dark Universe, it's alive, it's alive. It's alive, it's alive. Classic Frankie stuff. Super Nintendo World, here we go.
Here we go.
I would have preferred, and it's not as popular, but I just love the little Toad voice at the beginning of Mario Kart when he goes, start! Or if you play a lot of Mario Party.
That's on the ride.
It is on the ride.
Yeah.
Could have used a little Toad guy screaming that at me as I walk through the portal. I love that. And in Harry Potter, Ministry of Magic, it's for in dreams we enter a world that is entirely our own. Kind of dorky. But I believe that's a quote from the book or something like that, correct?
It's a Dumbledore quote. I think it's in the movie too. I just think that Harry Potter's an overachiever, so it has to be wordy.
Fair enough.
All the other ones are nice and short.
Yeah, no brevity there. Also noteworthy is that the Harry Potter land, and Alicia already mentioned this, will be mostly based on the Fantastic Beasts Paris. For all you folks that want to conjure up images of Eddie Redmayne talking out the side of his mouth and twitching for 2 hours, which he does a lot.
That's just the land, though.
It is
not the ride.
Not the
just
ride.
The land.
And apparently, you could get, this is more of the rumor variety. Maybe it isn't. Have they confirmed that you get into the Ministry of Magic via the Flu Network? I read that on one of your blog posts.
They did not confirm that, I don't believe. They have confirmed the timeline, though. This 1920s Wizarding Paris and 1990s British Ministry of Magic. And the fact that they have to say that and explain that, it's so weird because we don't think about it, but the Harry Potter series takes place in the 90s and Fantastic Beasts takes place in the 20s.
Yeah,
and if you want to combine those two together, not only are you transporting from one place in Europe to another, but you're literally going through time, which the time turner is the logo on the portal. So it's all fine.
That makes sense, I guess. No average guess is going to be like, these timelines don't match up. So, but nerds are going to be like, these timelines, they match up. The first land you enter is Celestial Park, and then you choose your own portal from there. But Celestial is not going to be any slouch, folks. Universal claims it will be, quote, the heart of Universal Epic Universe. And aside from that, we know that it will feature a pretty neat carousel called the Constellation Carousel, which will have vehicles that I saw will go 6 feet up. Is that correct?
Did they say that?
I saw that somewhere else. I'm not so sure about that one. That's why I'm pointing it out. But I did see confirmed that it will glide forward. It will glide forward and backward. And the vehicles will rotate 360 degrees, which is fucking sweet. I've never even... the redundancy you would think would be dumb, but I love the idea of a carousel also having figures that go carousel on their own.
Well, it's little mini circles on the big circle. So like a teacup ride or a tilt-a-whirl, how they have a circle with the ride vehicles on it, and that circle spins on the bigger turntable. So you got spinning while you're spinning.
Barf Fest. Awesome. And this will...
while going up and down.
While going up and down, there's also going to be a bar nearby, which is going to be great.
2 bars nearby.
That's
2.
right. That's right. I'm going to get to those later. And then this Celestial Park will also feature a potential e-ticket. I would say it's an e-ticket. I don't think they've confirmed it as that. But in Starfall Racers. Starfall Racers is the dual launch coaster in Celestial Park with trains made to look like comets, which is fucking cool. Here's how they're going to accomplish that. And this is also why this ride will cook at night. This is from Universal. Quote, with no external track lighting at night, the fully illuminated ride vehicles appear as comets shooting across the night sky above Celestial Park, end quote. So there's not going to be any tracker lighting on the actual coaster itself, just on the vehicles.
Lots of lights on the trains, yeah.
I wonder if, and I remember hearing this in your podcast, Alicia, because you just talked about this. I wonder if they will have any kind of like effect where it looks like the tail of the comet is kind of like dissipating as it's moving.
I was wondering that too, but like I think the way they worded it, it sounds like it's just the trains and they're just going to be very bright up against the night sky, so the train will just happen on its own, like the trail. So but also there might be lights pulsing on the train itself too.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Because like a modern version of Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket.
I was just about to say
like a less gaudy version like a less obnoxious version of that, but like some kind of trail light on the vehicles to try to make it. I think there might even be like a swirly light at the beginning, like at the front of the train too. So while in motion, it'll give it some. That's a rumor. We're getting into rumor territory. Sorry.
I didn't want to be that guy, but I was about to say Rip Ride Rocket. They kind of do this already with just lights on the vehicles themselves. So, which is why this next tidbit is even cooler, because there is extra sauce on these ride vehicles, and this is confirmed in the sense that they mentioned something like this would happen with the ride vehicles, and Alicia knows where I'm going with this because she just said it on her podcast. But there is apparently a very light IP tie-in to these ride vehicles. Byron, do you know about this?
I do not.
One could say they will McFly. But here's a quote from Andreza Duarte, senior manager of Universal Orlando Internal Communications. Quote, "Although I can't give this Easter egg away just yet, just know that there's a gift for true Universal fans on the back of each coaster vehicle. Truly out of time." End quote. What do you think this means?
Well, I saw some articles, some blog posts from people who assume that means there will be a Back to the Future license plate on the back.
That's what I imagine, yeah.
Because it says out of time in the hint. But what I've heard is there will be an actual flux capacitor.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Which will light up along with all the other LEDs on the vehicles. But it'll be hidden on the back. So you have to like crook your head and look at the station to even notice it, because it's an Easter egg.
I'm going to just have a gajillion beers and then just look at that flux capacitor fluxing while I'm on this bad boy. I cannot wait. We have a test on this podcast called the Simpsons test, which laments the replacing of Back to the Future with the Simpsons. And the fact that we're kind of getting, in a way, a Back to the Future roller coaster. Dude.
In a way.
Hey, watch yourself. What if it ends up being Simpsons in space?
It's not going to be Simpsons.
Well, luckily, I mean, they can't build any more Simpsons stuff, right?
No, I think Simpsons are going away. They don't own... The rights are going away.
Yeah.
Did you, not to throw off the entire course of this podcast, but did you see my last video and article?
Was it about Pokemon?
No, the parade that's supposed to debut later this year at Universal Studios Florida.
No, what is
it might have Back to the Future in the parade.
Oh, yes. Yeah, because there was when you were talking about Ghostbusters, too, as well, right? Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right.
Oh, man. Finally, they're leaning on the historic films that they have within their database instead of going for the flavor of the week. I love it. Mm-hmm. Also, some other stuff about this coaster that is confirmed. Supposed to be 5,000 feet of track, 133 foot heights, speeds of 62 miles per hour. Yeah, I'm going to be seated. There's one other thing about this coaster that I think is confirmed, but I don't want to spoil it because it is a maneuver that this coaster does, and I don't want to spoil it. It's going to be great.
They even said the name.
They did say the name, and we'll leave that. Well, we can't give you everything on this podcast, but if you do want everything, go to Alicia's. she'll feed you.
And I'm curious if they're going with a different manufacturer than usual for that one.
Who are they going with?
They're going with Mach, I believe, for Starfall Racers.
I have a theory. Mach Rides is doing that one, and also the small roller coaster over at Dark Universe.
Oh, the spinner.
Intamin is doing a roller coaster here for How to Train Your Dragon. But at the time, they were also doing Velocicoaster and Hagrid's when this was all being drawn up. So they may have turned to Mach. Because Mach does the little boat ride over at How to Train Your Dragon. I think they may have turned to them because the manufacturers can only do so many things at the same time. It has nothing to do with leaving Intamin behind, because we know Intamin is doing Fast and Furious over in your neck of the woods.
That's right. And Velocicoasters like universally and Hagrid's like loved. So yeah. I guess Intamin, I guess, had more of a reputation, I guess, beforehand of like reliability, but it seems like they've really I mean, Velocicoaster seems, I mean, up until like a week or so ago, seemed extremely reliable. I mean, Hagrid's more for just the technical reasons.
She needed a rest. She needed to rest a little bit. Blue needed to get some refueling. Go eat some like Gatorade or some shit like that.
She hasn't had, she had a vacation in how long since it opened, like in 21 or whatever? Just give her 3 days off.
Speaking of Velocicoaster, the Mosasaurus roll is not the same as what's going to happen on Starfall, but it's going to be something similar where it's going to be a showstopper kind of maneuver. And Byron's looking at me, he's like, don't spoil it for me.
I've seen the video, or I've seen the I
haven't even looked at animation. I just know I read it and I was like, I'm okay with reading spoilers. I don't like seeing them. And then I just then I can imagine what they were going to look like.
Yeah. A lot of rides I avoid, but that one was like, it was being built before our eyes because they can't like hide it in a show building or anything like that. So you're just like seeing it off the freeway. Like, oh my God.
That's why I'm excited about the one in Hollywood. One of Celestial Park's 2 table service restaurants, the Atlantic, which will be across Neptune Pool in Celestial Park, will apparently create the illusion of being underwater. From Universal, quote, the decorative fish that line the ceiling are surrounded by metallic curtains that shimmer as they sway, creating the illusion of being underwater in a massive aquarium, end quote. Appropriately, they're also going to serve surf and turf here, which is great in case you want to bookend lobster with some coasters and throw up all over everybody, which is, I can't wait. And this is one of 2 restaurants that will have its own bar. The Atlantic has its own bar, and I believe the Pan Pacific Asian restaurant, which, what is the name of that?
Blue Dragon.
Blue Dragon Pan Asian restaurant will also have its own bar. And I imagine there's going to be a bunch of bars scattered throughout this entire theme park. But those are the ones.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of bars. Every time I think of that old commercial, more bars in more places. There's a
but also putting
Verizon commercial.
Oh yeah, yeah. But also putting the park in theme park is something they said.
I love it.
It's beautiful. How about the fact? I mean, Back to the Future flux capacitor aside, how about the fact that these are 2 rides not tied to an IP or an entire like largest section of
original ideas.
That are all like, there's not a restaurant like themed. The only thing really themed after anything is a Nintendo store.
And apparently that pizza restaurant, the one that's kind of lightly themed after the 1902 movie Flight to the Moon or whatever the fuck that's called for all you film heads out there.
Is that it? Is that like copyright free now at this point?
It has to be. They have a reference to that in this quick service restaurant called Pizza Moon in Celestial Park. And the logo of it on the front of it is the little moon guy. Funny dude. Speaking of just the whole park in general, confirmed with the actual official announcement video, Stevie Spielberg, consultant.
Epic Universe is built on an amazing concept.
I don't know how much they paid him just to sit down for 5 minutes to do a talking head interview.
Do you know he still gets a percentage of the door at Universal Orlando?
Oh, yeah.
And he will for this theme park too.
That guy.
Because he worked so hard in 1990 on the original park. He's smart. He takes a bit of the back end. So he still gets a percentage. And this is how he earns it. He shows up, he does this video, he did a walk around the park, and he's like, good job, everyone. Pay me. Like,
incredible.
His annual payment.
Still writing the movies, I see. Yeah, thank you.
Every breath that guy takes, everyone. He's making a gajillion dollars. It's incredible. I love Stevie. Go get your bag. There's also going to be a fountain show in the 7 acres of water, which will dance to music and reach heights of 135 feet. Out of the top of your head, what's higher, that or World of Color?
They're close. They're very close. I forget what.
I think World of Color is just a hair over that.
It's 200.
Whoa.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy? It's dwarfed. Both of those are dwarfed by the Bellagio fountains.
Oh, yeah.
460 feet.
What?
It's fucking crazy.
No.
They do it bigger in Vegas. Dark Universe is centered around a new character, Dr. Victoria Frankenstein from Universal. Quote, guests encounter everything from the experiments of Dr. Victoria Frankenstein to the shadowy landscape where monsters roam in a world of myth and mystery. But who's coming to the party, you might ask? We got official images of Big Frank himself, Dracula, our fuzzy guy, the Wolfman, and the roster could include the Bride of Frankenstein and the creature from the Black Lagoon. Love them, would invite them if I knew them. There's apparently some lore that links all 4 portals, with Celestial Park being, quote, a world between worlds where everything begins and ends. We'll see about that. Do you have anything about how that's what they mean by that, Alicia?
There's a medallion glowing orb thing at the top of each portal.
Yeah.
And a matching one is on the Chronos entry portal. And the Chronos is I don't know. They're all connected. There's power running through the different portals, and it's using the power of the universe. I heard a rumor that the big main arch has like a sun moon disc at the top.
Yeah.
And at nighttime, like as soon as the sun sets, they do a big ceremony and the thing flips around to face the park. So like now it's nighttime. Like they're really leaning into the like lore of the celestialness of like, and the stars literally powering the orbs at the top of the portals. So when you walk through a portal, there's like LED walls and it's like all like weird magic electricity stuff because you're traveling like in a video game to another world.
It sounds like these creatives harnessed the power of marijuana to come up with all this, as we do sometimes as well.
Meanwhile, in Tomorrowland.
Yeah, exactly. Look at that astro orbiter. That's going to be fucking sweet. Oh, moving on to one of my favorite parts of this entire park, and it's hilarious because it's the hotel. The Helios Grand Hotel, which was confirmed to be the name, will be in the theme park. Not just out front like Disneyland Paris, or even to the side like the Grand Californian. It's going to be in the fucking theme park. And at the back of it, no less. There's also 2 other hotels outside the park called Stella Nova and Terra Luna, which are going to be space-themed and are the value resorts. I can't even imagine how expensive Helios is going to be.
I was going to say, do we all take guesses at opening week rates for that?
Stella and Terra are going to be, what, $149 to $200 a night is what I saw?
Up to $300, I think. If you buy 4 or 5 nights, it goes down to like $149. So just stay for a week.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could go to the other parks. I wonder, have you heard anything about the Helios prices?
No, I have not. But my guess would be go and look up whatever Grand Floridian is, because that's probably the closest you can get to the type of experience they're trying to go for. Because like Grand Floridian is on the monorail line. It's right next to the Magic Kingdom. It's fancy looking. And that's what this is. It's super fancy looking. And it's right, literally you walk out the lobby into the theme park.
Yeah, I've stayed at the Hard Rock Hotel, which is one of their deluxe resorts in Orlando, right outside Universal Orlando. Fantastic. I think that ran you about, was it like $400 or $500 a night or something like that?
Just about, yeah. And that one's a 5-minute walk to the entrance to the theme park. And maybe less if you walk quickly through the butterfly garden. This one is a 0-minute walk into the theme park.
I can't believe it.
So you have to imagine it's at least twice as much a night as something like Hard Rock.
Yeah. What portals is it closest to? What lands?
Dark Universe and Harry Potter.
My God. Dark Universe. You're telling me like a mainline, the Wolfman coaster, and then just crawl
first in line.
A little nightcap.
Oh my God, dude, I'm so fucking excited.
Do you think they'll do the same thing with the Express Pass here at Epic Universe? I guess that's more of like a whole, like an entire guest experience, but like, I guess if they bring, obviously if they do like Express Pass the same way they do these other 2 parks, it will be at Grand Helios, but
you would think so.
Well, we'll get more details on the hotel when they announce because the reservations aren't open for that yet. Reservations are open for the 2 smaller, or they're bigger hotels, but the lesser money hotels. I have a theory that we're not going to have Express at all for this theme park for like the first year.
That might be good.
They did build express lines into all the rides. It's in the permits as express. There's single rider at like half the rides, just like the existing resort. But I think once the express lines open, maybe Helios then will offer express as included, just the same as the 3 hotels that do at the existing resort, because it adds a lot of express capacity to the overall resort. So you would get not just Express for Epic Universe here, but maybe Express for Epic Universe at all the 3 hotels. So it would just be a 4th one that gives you free Express. That's my theory, but it's got to wait till the Express lines open.
Yeah, it might be a good thing for the first year, just for the lines to have no Express Pass. Just
Hagrid still doesn't have Express.
Yeah, but
you want to get your ride working before you
you certainly do. Moving on, Yoshi ride. Hell yeah. Apparently it's called Yoshi's Adventure. Love him. Love his funny little eggs. They have this joint over in Japan. It's like a standard Omni-Mover, a kiddie ride.
Seems like it's mainly for the kids, just based on what I've heard.
And me.
And me as well. I saw on Alicia's channel, they tested it recently with weighted dummies and vehicles. They're wrapped in plastic. Looks like everyone got whacked.
Look, I love a chill ride with good views. I mean, the people movers of the world, so if it's anything...
The Seuss the high in the sky Seuss trolley over at Islands of Adventure.
Is hilarious.
That's my jam.
I love that ride.
See?
The Cat in the Hat ride, I could do without.
Oh, I can't wait for that episode.
It's a bit much. I went on there in a state and I left in a different state. Let's just put it that way. Donkey Kong Country. Fuck yeah. Love my barrel tossing king. I want to see that shiny ass temple that's in the, you said earlier that people were going to complain this place didn't give you gold. That temple's going to be gold.
It's golden banana right there. The end of the ride, you got to win that golden banana. So I was wrong.
I'm going to win
right there.
Do you know if this has a warp pipe entry within the Super Nintendo World land?
Mm-hmm. It does. It's under the Yoshi ride.
Oh my God.
At the back of the land.
That's so fucking cool. Another thing, I don't know if this is confirmed. I wasn't sure to put this whether or not in the rumors or not, but we see it. We could all fucking see it. The Donkey Kong Minecart roller coaster, rumored to be called Donkey Kong Minecart Madness, will feature a one-of-a-kind track system that will give the appearance of broken track with gaps that you actually jump across. And this is accomplished by having a true single-rail track under the show track, which is the track that has the gaps in it, the show track. And the single rail track is going to be the thing you're actually rocking on. But it's going to create this amazing illusion, which is going to break my mind. Was that all accurate there, Alicia?
That is all accurate. And it will actually be opening in just a few months at Universal Studios Japan. It's their first expansion to the original Super Nintendo world. So we'll probably see footage of it running in just a few months, maybe March, April, May. They said spring. So it's coming up.
I'm guessing that's the same track layout, right?
It's nearly the same. I think the track layout's the same. We have a little more like show elements outside. Like we have a real waterfall on the front of our temple, and they do not, because they were just a little bit shorter on space. So if there's a difference, it's like 10 feet.
They're using mist on theirs, right? Instead of the waterfall. Yeah.
It's a clever use of it, but our waterfall actually has room to go all the way down into the little courtyard area.
Eat your heart out, Japan.
Yeah,
no waterfall for you.
This is the very rare time I feel like we go like, oh, wow, we got the bigger and better version.
That's right. Well, I mean, Orlando usually gets the bigger and better version.
That's fair. They do have this. I guess
you're talking about us SoCal
yeah.
people. We get the baby version of everything because we have no land. And then my last confirmed little fact here. It's nerdy, but I fucking love those beacons. I just think it's a new, interesting take on the weenie. Like it doesn't have to be this like massive structure. I just like the fact that it's like this giant pole that's skinny. You know, it's not like a. You know, like the facade for Big Thunder or Space Mountain or the castle. It's like,
here's a stick,
a wayfinder.
Yeah, exactly.
And each one of the beacons, it's just a way for you to see where you are in relation to all the different portals. I believe for Harry Potter, it's the Elder Wand. For How to Train Your Dragon, it's a little weather vane of Toothless. For Dark Universe, it's an electric tower, which will glow with special lighting effects, perhaps. For Super Nintendo World, it's pipes, the pipes with power-ups floating above them. Is that all on board there?
I remember when I said all that at the end of 2022 in a video talking about Celestial Park. And I was like, I hope I'm right on these, because they hadn't started building the beacons yet.
Did you nail all of the beacons?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Wow. That's crazy.
If you pull up the video and I put like a for example image of multicolored pipes, and I say the Nintendo is rumored to be pipes, and like I put an image there, it's exact. It looks exact.
You were fucking nailing every key like you were playing Guitar Hero on expert mode, just ripping it, just every single button.
I didn't know it would be the Elder Wand. I just knew it would be a hand holding a wand. So, you know.
I mean, you got to take the W there.
We need a little bit of surprise, you know.
And now we're moving into some rumors here, and then we'll move on to the world-class tests. In a reported leak, these are all rumors now, folks, so we don't know if these are going to happen, but they're rumors in the sense that Alicia says they're rumors, so they're not rumors. They're probably going to happen. In a reported leak, this one actually isn't from you, Alicia. This is one of the few things I didn't find from you, so I am actually curious if this is true. There was a Helios Grand Hotel leak, apparently. Did you see the leak?
I mean, it's not really... I believe an artist posted artwork they did in their portfolio to get jobs, and someone found it. I don't know if you count that as a leak or just like someone's resume. But I believe it's real artwork, and they were beautiful. The most interesting thing in there was it was described as a weenie for the park, like Cinderella Castle you can sleep in. And I was like, that's kind of cool.
Here's a sentence from the leak that's just what you're talking about. Quote, this is going to be, quote, set as the backdrop to the adjacent theme park. The client sought to create a Disney castle which was inhabitable. End quote.
There you go.
Fucking incredible. And on that note, some people have speculated that this is also going to be involved in the fireworks display. The hotel itself is going to be involved in that because there's a lagoon that sits behind it. That would be a good place to launch those bad boys off.
I know some people have said maybe they'll do projection mapping.
Maybe.
If you've ever ridden Tower of Terror, when they're doing projection mapping for Christmas, you'll know that it blinds you. And I can't imagine them blinding everyone in the windows of their hotel room.
Yeah.
But there are permits for hundreds of LED lights embedded on that side of the hotel. So that's one way to incorporate it into the show at the end of the night.
They know nobody's going to be sleeping when that thing's going off. They're going to be on that coaster, that Wolfman coaster, having their brain bash against their skull as they're going 360 over and over again. Other things from the leak, apparently it's going to feature some sort of thematic alternate dimension story that connects to the park. I don't know if that's from the leak exclusively or if that's already been somewhere else. And apparently houses 500 themed rooms and suites, an outdoor pool, a domed bar experience, which I've seen in your video, so I know that one for sure is true. But
I was the first to say 500 rooms also several years ago.
There it is. Thematic alternate dimension story, what the hell does that mean?
I don't know. Sometimes the language, like even saying themed rooms, and like my mind goes, "Ooh, are they themed to Nintendo? Are they themed to Harry Potter? Are they?" No, they're themed to the Helios Hotel. They're themed as the hotel. Like that's the thing about theme parks is the theme is celestial.
Yeah.
Like so, I'm overthinking it. I know they had like you'll see in one of the leaked. One of the portfolio pictures, there's like this weird like futuristic clock image thing.
Yeah.
That's almost like trying to be Gears but not be Gears. I know Universal Creative had a hard rule that there was no steampunk Gears allowed in Celestial Park in the design of this area. It needs to be futuristic and timeless, like Jules Verne and H.G. Wells, but no steampunk.
No steampunk
like,
Gears.
So they have to really think outside the box to think, what does that even mean? So you end up with like a lot of different old European, like almost looks like World's Fair influences.
It does kind of look like that. It looks like H.H.
like
Holmes.
the original Crystal Palace or something.
Oh God, it would have been fucking sick. On another note on that too, Byron and I actually had the pleasure / displeasure of going on the Galactic Star Cruiser. It was a lot, and there was parts I liked, parts I didn't like. Either way, I've kind of gathered that this might be going for something similar to that.
No. Universal knows that the hotels are your like escape away to sleep and refresh before heading back into the parks. So most of the hotels are themed as like something beachy, like Cabana Bay, or like the surf design of Endless Summer.
Gotcha.
Like they're supposed to be somewhere where you can go and just like recharge. You're not supposed to be on all the time like a Star Cruiser where you're LARPing nonstop and an alarm goes off and you have to leave your room. This is
answering
just
Slack messages on your app.
That's what Byron described it as. They would send us little messages in our data pad on the Galactic Star Cruiser, like, go to the engineering room. And I'm like, dude, I'm trying to sleep.
Too stressful. No, they know, like, this one's going to be the luxurious one. The ones across the street are going to be like a mix of like a relaxing beach hotel but with stars. Like
cool.
They know you're just there to chill.
Let's run through some of the rumors and we'll break it down by land. Let's start with Dark Universe just because it's my show. I'll do what I want. I love Dark Universe. Apparently you enter Dark Universe through a spooky graveyard. Love to hear that spooky shit. Is that great?
I mean, I hadn't heard that before, but BioReconstruct got some photos of all these tombstones, and it makes sense because that's like the opening scene of the original Frankenstein movie.
Yes.
Digging up like the body parts in the graveyard. So why not set the tone, walk through a graveyard? Sure.
Hopefully some fog effects. I just love, and I lament about this often, I just wish there was more year-long Halloween spooky attraction. So this land is just going to quench my thirst for that. Very excited for the thing they're building in Las Vegas too.
All the lands, by the way, including Celestial Park, will have original scores. I mean, Super Nintendo World, we've already heard in the other existing ones, but just expect to have your mind blown when you hear some of the other composers too.
I can't wait because one of my favorite nerdy things about theme parks are audio loops. I just love that kind of stuff. So to know that it's all thought about at that level of detail with legit composers, absolutely incredible.
Which is crazy to think that, the next generation or like kids growing up are now going to have these, like Celestial Park is going to have this probably like a score that they're going to always find synonymous with the park. So like new nostalgia in the making.
Mm-hmm. It'll be like my port of entry at Islands of Adventure.
There you go. Yeah.
Like, but for a new generation.
Port of entry actually is pretty fun. I actually feel bad for people who are going to be born after this park is already created because they won't have the lead up, the anticipation that we've gotten. And as like lifelong theme park fans, God, what a fucking treat.
Ideally, they still get other theme parks in the future, and then they still get the they get all the surprise.
Yeah, but imagine if your first theme park ever was Epic Universe.
Yeah, and then like what happens in the
what happens after that? You take them over to
Universal Studios
Orlando.
Florida, and you got sound stages, and
yeah, dude. Hope you enjoy watching Jimmy Fallon. Anyways, let's continue on with some more Dark Universe rumors. Rumored e-ticket for Dark Universe is Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein experiment. That comes straight from Alicia right there. And those thought to be on the guest list for this ride: Dracula, Frankie, and Victoria Frankenstein. The rendering of this bad boy looks amazing. And it also could feature some Kuka arm shenanigans, according to Alicia as well. I did not look at any of the patents because I didn't want it to get ruined. But I did see the Frankenstein animatronic, and this is supposed to be incredible.
The walking animatronic patent. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Sorry, I slipped that in without a spoiler alert.
Oh, it's fine. It's gonna be spectacular.
I mean, if you think Forbidden Journey is scary,
dude,
I can't imagine what.
I'm so excited to see Frankenstein walk.
I could talk literally for an hour about that ride and all of the rumors and the ways that the different technologies will be incorporated. Because right now, if you ride Forbidden Journey, it goes like real stuff, screen moment, real stuff, screen moment. This is not going to do that.
Oh my God. Thank you, Jesus.
That was our big critique.
It's going to incorporate different types of screen media and real animatronics and a new technology that will merge the two in a way that has never been done before. And it's going to be the first time you ride it, just like the first time you rode Forbidden Journey, you're going to walk off going, how did they do that? But like in a whole new way, even though the ride system is still technically the same.
I am skeptical, though. I will say, anytime I hear merging real life animatronics with screens, I'm always like, Seven Dwarves mind train me.
I can't even explain. Like, just trust me, it's not that.
Oh, thank God.
It's different than that.
I just seeing Frankenstein walk. I see that big guy walk. I'm gonna piss my pants. I fucking can't wait.
Abraham Lincoln stood up so Frankenstein could walk.
There it is. Amazing. Also, our guy Wolfie, he has his own roller coaster called Curse of the Werewolf, which is apparently a spinning coaster. There's footage of it actually going through ride testing, now online from Peaceful Thrill Seeker. That's actually from Alicia's most recent blog. Shout out to them, and obviously by Reconstruct, who we shouted out earlier. Burning Blade Tavern. That's a dining location in Dark Universe, it seems like. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if it's Frankenstein or Wolf Man, but there's supposed to be fire effects on that bad boy as suggested by the name. I am imagining the blades themselves will be on fire.
Yes. That's a gas permit I found years ago. And I'm like, okay, well, this windmill's going to be on fire. It literally says special flame effects on the gas line permit. Because normally, like, the gas line says it's for a stove or it's for a heating element. This gas line said special flame effects. I'm like, okay, that windmill's going up on flames.
Man, that's incredible. I can't wait to see fire spin fast.
No, fire bad. Fire bad.
No, fire great. Fire good. That does it for my little preview of rumors for Dark Universe. Don't want to give away too much. Let's move on. One rumor here from Harry Potter. There's going to be some sort of crazy e-ticket in that British Ministry of Magic, rumored to be called Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry, according to you, Alicia. And apparently you access this building, like the Ministry of Magic, via the Flu Network. I'm guessing it's going to be some sort of Rise of the Resistance trackless tech here. Universal execs themselves hint at the grand scale of it. Alicia's shaking her head no for you guys listening.
It's yes, on grand. And that is the type of scale. I mean, we can see the building and how big. It's the largest indoor ride at this park. Wow. And just like in that video, the official video, it is going to be impressive. But if you've seen, like even in the official video, it shows the atrium with the giant wizard statues from the Harry Potter movies
where
in
they
the Ministry.
Fight, where Voldy and Dumbledore fight, and he puts them in the water
ball. Imagine walking
ball.
into that full scale, just like the Gringotts Bank. Whereas this is taller. This is bigger.
I love
this is like the hangar from Rise of Resistance. Like it's that moment once you go through the Flu Network and get into this building. Cause like you're just in a city street in a different like country. And now all of a sudden you're in the British Ministry from the Harry Potter series. And I still can't fathom the scale of how tall this will be.
Do you think Rise of the Resistance was kind of like the direct thing that Universal Creative looked at and was like, this is what we're up against?
It's strange because I know one of the earlier plans for this attraction was a trackless ride. And I wonder if they changed, like shifted gears after Rise of the Resistance came out so it wouldn't be compared directly to it. I don't think they wanted to accidentally make the same ride.
Yeah.
Because there's elevators involved. There's trackless ride vehicles involved. So they kind of went back to the drawing board for whatever reason. I'm just putting my own idea on it, but for whatever reason. And they made an entirely new ride system for this ride that is unlike anything that you've physically experienced on a dark ride before.
I can't wait because I will say we have seen kind of an influx of trackless dark ride technology, and I'm glad that they went outside the box here. Moving on to How to Train Your Dragon, Isle of Berk. These are smaller details. I just love, there's apparently going to be giant bird houses that kind of house these dragons, and one of them's going to have a big ass dragon tail just wagging out of it. I love that. It's just great little details. It's very charming. Also on that land, there's a boat ride. Your boy loves a flume or any kind of aquatic adventure. You had mentioned that Mach was actually going to be doing the ride vehicles there. It's
an interactive boat ride. It's a little kid boat ride. You literally stand up and like shoot water cannons on this type of ride.
Oh, interesting.
I've done it at Legoland,
I was
Florida
about to say
before.
Legoland, yeah.
Yeah, and like I got really wet on that. But there's targets that you shoot at. There might be people on the land that you shoot at and they'll shoot back at you. So it's a good like little kid boat ride, but everyone gets to ride it. So I think it's target practice. It's to train you. This is like How to Train Your Child land, where everything's about training. So you can be a dragon like trainer later when you grow up.
And how to get them absolutely soaked, it seems like.
I mean, it is universal.
Yeah, they can't resist.
The bilge rat.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think it'll be that bad.
Byron's dad.
Yeah, my dad has an affinity for specifically the water rides at Islands of Adventure. He's like only been like we did a family trip back in like, it was like 2012 or 2014 or something. All he raved about was wanting to go back to Islands of Adventure specifically for Dudley Do Right and Popeyes.
Popeyes bilge
While
rats.
we were, no joke, wringing our clothes out for like the entire day after going on those rides.
Well, if you're staying at Helios, you just
no problem.
You just walk up, change your shoes. You no longer have those squeaky little gross shoes. How to Train Your Dragon also will have a launching roller coaster called Hiccup's Wing Gliders with rumored ride vehicles with dragon wings. You had mentioned that Intamin is doing those bad boys.
Yep. I have a rumored story detail if you want.
Oh, yes, I would like to hear it.
I don't think I've ever said before. There should be a Toothless and Hiccup animatronic on that ride.
Oh, fuck
And for the first launch, I think Toothless might actually blow the wind into our sails to send us on that launch. Dude, and that,
insane.
That's how it works. Like, cause all the things in this land are built by the Viking residents of Berk. So there's it looks like it's choppy wood, like it's homemade. Like the Skyfly spinning ride is powered by a dragon. Like they strapped a dragon onto the stick and the dragon flaps its wings and that powers the spinning ride.
Oh my God.
So
nuts.
So it's like the Flintstones made rides is what this land is like.
I can't wait. And the land looks really cool. I like all the boardwalk kind of like little wood panels that we already see kind of forming. And the eateries look great as well.
Now, from a thrill level standpoint, I imagine that the Hiccup coaster will be kind of on par with, say, like what Hagrid's is. Do you think?
Less intense than Hagrid's, but more intense than like a Hippogriff, in between. Like Slinky Dog is actually a good comparison. If you've been on Slinky Dog, it's more intense than it looks. Imagine Slinky Dog with extreme banked turns. The real e-ticket for that land, I know everyone's going to think it's the coaster, but that stage show, The Untrainable Dragon, I think
I don't know
the
about
sleeper
this.
hit.
What is this?
If you go look
that's at Beijing, right?
Right. If you look up Untrainable Dragon Show at Beijing, it is like large scale puppets from How to Train Your Dragon and an original story. And it's just beautiful to look at. There's like literally Toothless and Hiccup fly over the audience.
Oh my God.
So it's a sleeper hit there, that stage show.
I will not look it up because now I know you have stamped it with approval and I'm going to just experience it live. These last two bullet points are also from a recent blog post from you, Alicia. Luigi's Mansion in Super Mario World, possibly coming. A new ride and a new mini land. We're not just being fed, these dudes are stuffing us. like a goddamn Build-A-Bear.
This is a rumor within a rumor. Like, this is a phase 2 expansion for a park that hasn't even opened phase 1 yet. So anything could change. I'm just reporting on, like, everyone's always asking me, what's the expansions? Because you can look at this official, I have it open here. Look at the official map here, and you see a big green blotch on the right and a big green blotch on the left. And those are expansion plots to put new worlds. The one on the left is rumored to connect to Nintendo because Nintendo's the smallest land, and it will over time double in size. And Luigi's Mansion is one of the first rumored expansions as of right now, anyway.
Which would make sense because it's also, if it were to go where you're suggesting, it would also be neighboring Dark Universe.
Yeah, isn't that the perfect like in between? Like, if it bleeds over the sight lines, it still looks creepy on one side,
it's so good,
and it's still Nintendo on the other side.
And that's what I'm so curious about, is as a whole, like, I feel like it's going to be very different compared to previous Universal parks, because like I always felt like they're like a big Achilles heel for them was the sight lines.
Yeah,
when compared to Disney, I feel like they'll nail it here.
And now they're actually making beacons that.
Yeah, it's like Diagon Alley. Yeah. When you're in Diagon Alley, you're only in Diagon Alley.
Yeah.
When you're in these lands, you are only in these lands.
They couldn't really completely do that at Hogsmeade.
I mean, now they're just using it to their advantage. And I will say though, I was so stoked about this, and then my stoke really went down when I realized that this might be a shooter-like attraction. Alicia described it as a cross between the MIB ride and VillainCon. Look. I want to say this right here. Alicia originally wanted to cover the MIB ride for this podcast, and I was like, we got to talk about Epic Universe. And that's not just because I'm not the biggest fan of it, the MIB ride. We could talk about that one day. And it's a fine attraction. But the VillainCon ride, maybe one of the worst rides I've ever been on.
Why are you spoiling that episode?
We could talk about it.
I'm kidding. I mean, would we ever do an episode on that? I don't know.
When I said that, what I mean is the gun, the blaster itself, the way that it uses, it's not infrared like Men in Black. It uses a new, like a Wi-Fi targeting system.
Gotcha.
That's all I mean.
But not the moving walkway that VillainCon.
No, it's rumored to be an Omnimover.
Oh my God.
It's literally the Haunted Mansion with guns.
That sounds much better.
Buzz Lightyear then, or?
VillainCon?
Yes, Buzz Lightyear. I don't want to say that because I hate that the button hurts my thumb so much on Buzz Lightyear.
It does hurt.
The Walt Disney World version with the lever back and forth, but then it twists you the other way. Like, it drives me insane.
Yeah, it's not.
No,
that's right. Are those guns? But those guns at Disney World still attached to the actual vehicle?
Oh yeah. Oh, they're mounted.
Because
we have control of a joystick, so it's impossible to coordinate.
Oh, wow, yeah.
That sucks. Do you like VillainCon?
I like Minion Tots. And if it took VillainCon to get Minion Tots, then God. Yes, by the connection there, yes, I like VillainCon. I don't hate it.
Byron and I walked onto it because we're like, "Whoa, this is that new ride. I wonder why there's no line." And then we got on. I've never wanted to leave a ride halfway through the ride, but I almost did. I was like, where's the exit? We
were looking at the exit. There's the first time that impulsively on an attraction, I actually wanted to kind of just get over the railing. I almost whoa, wait. There's repercussions here. But I actually instinctively wanted to pull a Jeff Goldblum on the Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah.
Slow.
Yeah, exactly. And it just bounced out of there.
Deuces.
But either way, a Luigi Mansion, that would be incredible. It's one of my favorite properties. So to have that and then have it wedged between Super Nintendo World and Dark Universe, and also have its own pipe.
One rumor for Luigi's Mansion that I think is really interesting is that the same building that houses the ride, the actual mansion, would also house a restaurant, so that you'd be eating in a ballroom section of the mansion as the restaurant, in the same building as the ride. And that's incredible. That to me, that's how you theme a Luigi's Mansion Miniland. Just stick it all in one giant building that is the giant mansion.
Which would satisfy my thirst for having some sort of horror themed dining. I've always wanted there to be a Haunted Mansion style kind of restaurant. Which is why I was so jealous about that Haunted Mansion bar that was announced on that cruise ship. Just put it in the park. Don't put it on a cruise ship. Come on now. So the fact that they're going to do that here,
possibly,
is pretty incredible. And then this isn't even, I don't know why I'm putting this in here. This isn't even Epic Universe, but in that same article, Alicia mentioned that maybe The Simpsons being replaced by Pokemon, and maybe Zelda coming to Islands of Adventure.
Maybe.
Pokemon Snap. I'm in.
Well, that's I guess another interesting thing about now that they have all this land over there, or to the south, which only a certain, I don't know, not even half, right, is taken up by Epic Universe.
Well, besides once you put in the 3 hotels and a large backstage like support area, it is a good chunk of they're building on 450 acres of the 750. So there's still some more land up Universal Boulevard for more hotels. And there is still technically land enough to build another theme park if they were to add parking garages instead of a flat parking lot.
Oh, interesting.
So there is enough land for expansion.
Because I think you might have brought this up in a podcast before, that if they moved enough of their backstage area from the other parks over to the new plot of land, now they can make expansions to the other parks,
which makes sense.
Instead of doing that, they are building gigantic tech services and food and beverage warehouses behind, or it's already built. They're setting them up now behind Epic Universe, but that barely moves anything off of there. They're actually building a new team member commons area at Universal Studios Florida. So instead of expanding the theme park into the backstage, they're just making the backstage better. But the Simpsons area, the top right corner of Universal Studios Florida, is ripe for expansion, and you can fit a whole new land behind that Simpsons ride if they want to.
Oh God, anything to get them out of here.
Even if they didn't do it any sooner, I think that contract is up at 2028. So Simpsons is not going to get renewed.
Days are numbered.
And then also the one last thing on the Zelda thing, I'd read that you'd mentioned one earlier version of it, probably not going to happen anymore, was a Zelda boat ride that turns into a suspended dark ride halfway through.
Right. I'm not that familiar with Zelda. Is it Breath of the Wild where
you have the glider, you have the glider.
Yeah. So imagine you're on this normal boat ride and you get to a waterfall and it looks like you're going to go over the waterfall, and then all of a sudden, the thing comes up and you fly.
My head would explode. I don't even know how I'd react to that. Shane Madej is a huge Zelda guy. He would lose his mind.
It would be like being on Jurassic Park, the ride, and halfway through it turns into E.T.
God, it's fucking so good. Anyways, that does it for all the rumors. Do you want to have any other rumors you'd like to talk about, Alicia, that you are particularly stoked about that I did not mention?
It's not okay. I saw something right before we started recording and I can't get it out of my brain, but there is a trademark for something called Darkmoor Tattoo, which Darkmoor is the village for Dark Universe.
Yeah.
The tattoo shop in a permit is a makeup stand inside of the main retail.
Yeah.
And then there's a patent. So mixing together trademark, permit, and there's a patent for AR enabled tattoos, where you get a temporary tattoo,
Whoa.
and you put your phone up to it and it comes alive. And I don't know if that patent is for this, and I don't know if that name is for this, but if you mix those 3 things together, I may have just stumbled upon something for Dark Universe that I had no idea about yet.
That's incredible. And it also would help someone like me who's too much of a coward to get a tattoo because I'm so afraid of commitment, and I could see what I would look like with a certain tattoo. I'll have to do this.
So go get yourself a Universal Classic Monsters tattoo at the Universal Monsters land, and then put up the app to your arm or whatever, and it would come alive. I think that's a really neat concept, and now I kind of want it to exist.
I'm gonna get the Wolfman eating the mummy. It's gonna be fucking sick. Byron, did you have any rumors you want to throw in here before we head into the world-class tests?
I'm pretty good. I think those were plenty.
2 questions here before we get into those. A, when do you think this bad boy is going to open? Because it did say summer 2025, and then with the most recent announcements, summer dropped. So obviously that means later. I would imagine they would not drop it if... No? You think sooner?
I honestly don't know. I think they're still waiting on so many things and so many different contractors and so many timetables. Maybe they want to leave themselves some leeway in case that it's not ready by the summer. But also maybe they could open earlier if they want to. So I do imagine we'll get team member previews way earlier than the summer. I imagine we'll get annual pass previews at least by the summer. And I also imagine that Comcast doesn't want to wait any longer because they've already put this off for a couple of years.
Makes sense.
So yeah. I think it's opening in the summer. I wouldn't be surprised June, whatever the anniversary of Universal Studios Florida. Do like Epcot and just open on the same day.
That'd be cool.
What do you think comes first? Completing the infrastructure part, Universal Boulevard, and connecting those dots, or the actual park itself?
The county says that the Kirkman Road extension, which will connect the two resorts, like they're making this road longer, will be done by the end of this year or the beginning of next year. Like we're talking December, January. And that has to be done before this park opens. If that opens on time, that road is done, all bets are off. As soon as the rides are ready, they'll open this thing. Even if it's soft open previews, whatever.
And that road, they're like intending like 30 to 40,000 vehicles, I think. Something like that.
Per day, yeah.
That's insane.
That's right.
And then last question here for both of you. What are you most excited for and what are you most worried about?
Okay. Honestly, for me, when it comes to theme parks, as you can see, I love my pizza Rizzo. I love my Minion Tots at the Minion Cafe. I like well-themed theme park food restaurants. I don't want to go to the Atlantic. I can't afford that.
Yeah.
I'm going to be at Toadstool Cafe every single day, or the Pizza Moon, or the Burning Blade Tavern. I'm excited for those. I'm excited for the moments in between the rides when I get to just chill and relax in a very well-themed environment and have like medium priced food, not the cheapest stuff in like the hot dog stands and not the most expensive stuff over at the full service, but the in between. That is my jam. And that is what I'm all about. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most. What am I most worried about? I'm worried that the Wizarding World ride is too complicated and will have issues.
Yep.
I'm worried that the Dark Universe ride is ambitious with its technologies and won't look good. I think it will, but I'm worried it won't.
Those are two good ones. By the way, I'm excited for that grog restaurant over in How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Berk. Byron, what about you?
You know, going off what you said, Alicia, with the kind of like the middle tier food, because that's like one of my kind of like my favorite stuff, especially recently about like going to like Disney parks and stuff like that. And that's what I've at least with Universal Hollywood here, I've had an issue is I'm never excited about getting anything to eat or like doing the in-between attraction stuff like you were mentioning. Whereas like you go to Epcot or something, it's like it's part of the culture. And so like my worry is, and I'm hoping they, optimistically, I hope they address that at this park because I haven't really seen it apart from like Mythos, which is not like a middle tier food place. Like that's the only place I've actually like enjoyed eating at a Universal place.
R.I.P.
But if they're able to kind of create that, Disney Food Blog exists for a reason. Like there's so much. I mean,
Sawtooth Canteen is probably the standard for me for quick service. Like nothing comes close to that quality.
Those Pongus, is that what they were? Sawtooth's the one next to it. That's not even a little pickup.
Quick service.
Yeah. The quick service area.
Where you can like get your own bowl with the different bases and the different proteins and the little cheeseburger pods and stuff. It's just really like well themed, high quality. I do like the Minion Cafe. I think that it's trying to do something different in Universal Studios Florida, which hasn't had the best quick service locations. I mean, even the Wizarding Worlds succeed pretty well in having some high quality quick service. But like Toadstool Cafe is doing something a little different. I like the whimsy of it, just like Minion Cafe.
Ryan, are you the only one out of the three of us then that's been to Toadstool Cafe? Have you been to Toadstool Cafe?
I've been. It's okay. I think it's better than Minion Cafe. I will say that I'm of the mind that Universal's food has always not been the greatest. But that's also just because like I am comparing it to like an Epcot. Because like even other Disney World resorts, food items aren't the greatest. Like even Disneyland. I mean, Disneyland, you have a couple really good ones, but I
think it's also important to note that the demand for Toadstool Cafe in Hollywood is ridiculous.
It's huge,
it's booked for the whole day by like the morning.
I mean, that's why they had to make the power up like a snack stand just to like offset the amount of money they're like we're making too much money here and we're
unreal.
Like cutting it off. We have to make a second restaurant on the upper lot just to recoup some of this lost money.
So Byron, is that your worry or is that because we got to get going to the world? Here.
That was the worry. And then, well, I guess the other worry was just a lot of like beautiful bells and whistles with not enough emotional substance. But
interesting.
Once again, because I think it will be impressive no matter what. Like you say, like the money's getting put into it. Like we've looked at concept. Like I think they will deliver on the look, the amount of attractions. I love that they're not doing like their phase 2, if you will, is actually just creating new portals as opposed to, you get one of the rides and then we'll open the second ride in like 6 months because we can't figure it out.
Rise of the Resistance.
We need to meet our deadline to, you know, make good on our earnings, whatever. What I'm most excited about, a dueling launch coaster, but I fucking love roller coasters.
He loves roller coasters. He really does.
And Donkey Kong. I mean,
dude,
I don't know if that's like, it might be another Intamin one.
Technically, Set Point did the coaster track for that.
Gotcha. Is that kind of like a Gringotts situation where it's like a few people kind of came together?
Yeah.
All right.
But nothing compared to the Ministry of Magic ride. That is like 4 different companies Frankensteining something together that's never been done before.
And speaking of Frankenstein,
which is why I'm concerned.
That's your big positive.
I'm most excited for Dark Universe by far. I'm gonna sleep in the Burning Blade Tavern.
Well, the cool thing is it's IP, but it's so distant from its origins that you're still, you know, it doesn't feel like something they just slapped on there. Like, you're gonna get a new adventure. You're probably gonna get new characters.
You would hope. It's been underutilized IP. Universal has this great classic monsters IP that they've just kind of never really known what to do with. And that's why I'm excited for it. My worry is that it's gonna feel slapped on, that like they threw us a bone, like, here you go.
You really think so?
And it's not gonna actually be as like, not as much effort as like Super Nintendo World or you know, the Ministry of Magic.
I don't think you have to worry about that.
Okay, then I'm stoked.
I mean, because you can't just like replicate like the old black and white like films, which what usually people are drawn back to, and that's the inspiration. So to get it like kind of brought into color in like real time, but still have that feel. Like I think if there's a slam dunk at this park, that's the land that actually exceeds the expectations.
You weren't a fan of?
At very least, the vibes are going to be like immaculate in there, especially if the music, the fog effects, the lighting, you walk into there at nighttime, you maybe got some meet and greets with the different monsters, the vibes. And also there is an original character, Dr. Victoria Frankenstein, the great granddaughter of the original Dr. Frankenstein. She's got her own experiments. She's got her own concepts going on. So, you know, it's an original storyline. It's like an original land. But utilizing the things we're familiar with. So it's a new twist.
We'll see. Byron, you weren't a fan of Tom Cruise's The Mummy?
What?
The reboot? What?
That didn't exist.
What mummy? What are you, yeah.
The Mummy.
What?
The Mummy. Oh, I see what you're talking about. Very good. Anyway, let's move on to the world-class tests. This is a rubric of 10 tests painstakingly devised by Byron and myself to determine if an attraction is world-class. Now, obviously, this is a special episode, and some of the tests may not apply to an entire theme park, which is why I have devised some new ones that even Byron doesn't know about.
That's right, Alicia. We're in the same boat today.
So if you hate them, if you hate these new tests, it's all my fault. Don't blame Byron. As always, to receive the highly coveted world-class pass, this theme park must pass 7 out of 10 tests. A score of 6 out of 10 leaves the park up for debate for world-class pass standing. Don't think we're going to have to do that. And anything lower than 6 out of 10 is an automatic fail. If we failed this, I think we would be kicked off of theme park YouTube forever. Alicia would walk off the podcast like Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Test number 1, the average tourist test. Would the average tourist have a hard time getting on these attractions based on what we've gathered? Is there a complicated queue system, express pass, transportation and parking? Is it hard to access the theme park in general?
I mean, there will be a level of confusion because people will be standing at the entrance to Universal Studios Florida and they'll be like, Islands of Adventure, Universal Studios Florida, where's Epic Universe? And they're like, get back in your car. It's 2 miles that way.
Yeah, because you don't go through the city walk.
There is that element.
Yes.
No, it's not connected to the original. But there will be free shuttle bus transportation from that area at City Walk to this park. So worst case scenario, you stay parked there, you hop on a shuttle bus and you're there in 10 minutes. So it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, I saw that on one of your blogs that there was actually space for a shuttle bus station that have they built it already, or the
land's being cleared right now.
Gotcha.
But there's dedicated bus lanes down that road, so there won't even be traffic.
I gotta say, the Universal bus system, I don't know if it's just like a small sample size for me coming to visit, like, you know, once a year or something like that, but I stayed at like Endless Summer.
Yeah.
Like about a year or 2 ago. And I gotta say, I think their bus system's more efficient than Disney World's right now.
Well, it is quick. It's like every 10 minutes on the dot, but they also have less things to service. There's only the one depot for City Walk and the parks, and then the few hotels. So, I mean, Disney's got a whole universe down there.
What do you think the wait times are going to be for all these rides? Like, because there's so many new e-tickets.
This is new. Hopefully people are doing all the interactive stuff, which we didn't even touch on. But there's like the interactive wands, the power-up bands, probably something in Dragons, probably something in Dark Universe, besides interactive tattoos. I don't know. Those will probably be sucking some time for some people. So hopefully the lines for the rides aren't always long.
And a bunch of new dining locations, a bunch of new merch. So I actually, and shows, I think there's enough offerings here and hotels that are nearby where people will take breaks midway through the day. I do think that this is going to be surprisingly, relatively, like not that crazy in terms of just 2-hour waits for every ride.
No. I think there'll be 2-hour waits for Mario Kart, 3-hour waits for Mario Kart for a long time, because even though it's existing in 2 parks already, this is Orlando where everyone in the world comes to, and everyone's going to go to Nintendo first. So I'll be over at Dark Universe enjoying that ride instead.
I was about to say, good, go on Mario Kart, enjoy your 2-mile-per-hour ride. Anyways, I'm gonna say this is a pass
for you
based on what we're seeing.
Yeah, I mean, look. This is not a situation where everyone in the park is coming to ride that new ride. It's going to be everyone in the park trying to ride, all these new rides. We're saying what? It's like 50 attractions or something like that.
Insane,
I don't know what constitutes what an attraction is.
No, they didn't say attraction. I believe they said 50 things to experience. They're counting gift shops, restaurants, snack stands.
Because I'm like, 50 is a little high. So I'm like, this is the celestial.
They counted the splash pad as an attraction.
Exactly. So. I was like, ooh, I don't know if that's.
I think we're looking at like 13 rides when the park opens.
And then
it's very similar to Islands of Adventure when it first opened in '99.
Do they count the 15 restrooms as experiences, or the Toadstool Cafe? I get,
Yes.
I think that since they are building this from the ground up, they've been able to use decades of market research to make this the most accessible and easy to access park.
And this was what I was going to ask you too about was, do you think anything about like guest experience as opposed, like, for example, like Disney adopted, the Genie Plus and like the boarding group system when Rise of the Resistance was coming out. I feel like Universal is just not going to touch it, and they're just going to let queuing be queuing.
That's good.
But I mean, I'd like to hear your takes on it.
If a land reaches capacity, let's be real, if Super Nintendo World reaches capacity, they'll probably have you pull out your app and get a virtual line to return to that land, just like Hollywood did when it first opened.
They still do it every now and then.
Yeah. And I think that is something, because of the portals, it's easy to cut off a land and say, sorry, folks, this land's closed, but you can sign up to come back later when we have more room, and then it'll alert you on the app and you go right in. So other than that, I don't see it as a requirement for rides. They might sell a la carte virtual lines as New Express in the future. That might be coming down the road, but it won't be required. It won't be a boarding group system, because that's awful.
Well, based on all that, it seems like, what do you think? A pass on this one, Alicia?
Yeah, I think it's a pass, but there are caveats. It is a lot of new information. Like Tapu Tapu was new, but it's supposed to be for our better enjoyment.
Tapu Tapu was confusing until I got hammered, and it was fucking incredible. And I was just laying on the beach just in a daze.
Exactly. Really? I thought it was so easy.
I mean, I guess
Tapu Tapu.
It had to be explained to me.
Assuming that they don't make reservations insanely hard to get into this park as a whole when it first opens, I think this is definitely a pass.
From what we know, it seems like it's a pass. Yeah. So 1 for 1. Moving on to test number 2, the Air Buds test. Would you and your buds be willing to fly down to Orlando solely for this theme park?
I mean, we don't even have to discuss
No, this is
right?
an easiest yes you could possibly give. The reason why I thought of this is there are theme parks where you would not fly, like Disneyland Paris. I would not fly down to Paris just for that park. It's a good park, but I'm not going to make it a trip around it. Or even what they're planning in the UK. I can't imagine I'm going to fly down to the UK just for that. I might because I'm a weirdo.
Paddington Bear.
That's fucking true. They don't have the IP, I think, right? He's not part. Is he part of it? If he is,
you might be.
I will change my answer to yes.
I said it, therefore it must happen.
That's true. You are kind of the
I brought it to fruition.
You're the Nostradamus of theme parks.
This soundbite already entered the Universal Experiences boardroom, and there's Alicia said it. We got to make it come true. Get on it now. 2026 opening.
You have them on pins and needles over there. Byron, is this a yes for you? Are you out of your mind?
I mean, like,
are you out of your mind?
I've flown with you to Orlando just to go revisit a park we've been to like 5 times.
Yeah, but this is the ultimate version of. I
would drop my shit if my future child was being born.
Oh no!
I would get on that plane and have to deal with it later. I'm not serious, but I am serious about giving it a pass.
You'd be like, I have to go. I said it on the AirBuds test.
Yeah,
that's 2 for 2. Moving on to the smartphone test. We know this one. Do the queues of these attractions have enough to keep you off your phone? What do we know about some of these queues, particularly some of the e-tickets? They seem crazy.
I mean, like, the Mario Kart queue is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
They do a good job of keeping it like changing throughout the queue. And from what I've heard and what I've seen in permits for the Monsters Unchained, like that queue is really interesting to me because it's like a Haunted Mansion type queue. This is Frankenstein's Manor. This is a 150-year-old, like his experiments are like the last room. We still have to go through all the first rooms. We have it's just, but then of course the Ministry of Magic, like first we had going through the castle at Hogwarts, then we had Gringotts. Now we have the Ministry of Magic. It's getting bigger each time.
Yeah.
The novelty of potentially flu powdering too.
But even like the Isle of Berk ones, like the How to Train Your Dragon queues, I bet you those are going to be cool. Like you're seeing the dragon with a tail wagging out of it, the birdhouse. That's not even in a queue. Right. That's just in the land, I feel like.
Because even if you're waiting outdoors, I feel like in all of these portals, you're at least going to be like there's going to be some level of kinetic energy, which we haven't been seeing of in a lot of recent lands. Right. I feel like that were built.
The dragons queues are outside, but that whole land is like Tomorrowland original kinetic energy, where every form of transportation is happening around you.
God, that's awesome!
Like there's boats and coasters and that flying things.
That swelling music. Oh, it's so good. What's the name of that track? It's like Flight School. I forget.
And we didn't mention it, but those 2 gigantic Viking statue, the Viking and the dragon statue at the entrance to that land, also have gas lines running to them for flame effects.
Dude, it's great because the dragon on top of Gringotts, always a showstopper. Anyways, that clearly seems to be a pass. I mean, they're going for it. What do we have to say here? 3 for 3. Moving on to test number 4. The Tony Stark test. How innovative will this theme park be? Will it push theme park tech forward?
Woodbury literally said it's the most technologically advanced theme park they've ever built.
Yeah. And
doesn't that answer that question?
It should. I can't imagine this isn't going to push. I mean, you already mentioned a couple ride systems that haven't been seen before. One at the Ministry of Magic, and also some animatronic actions in the Monsters ride.
We're gonna have a coaster jump track.
I mean, there's
well,
literally...
I guess that technically is opening Japan, but still, I mean...
Almost every e-ticket has something that pushes theme park tech forward.
There's a rumor for dragons that are drones to fly over the land at How to Train Your Dragon.
Shit.
So you can look in the corner of the land and see flying dragons.
Are we going to overdose on theme park?
Dude, I don't think I'm going to survive my first visit to this. I might legit pass away.
Do they have like a little like medical facility where they just like throw you on a stretcher? Like, another theme park head, get them.
There's a health services at the back of the park and a health services at the front of the park.
Of course.
I can point them out on the map for you.
They're going to need to put me in there in the maximum stokage. The tent. Too much stokage. Anyways, pass on that one. Clearly 4 for 4. What a shocker. Test number 5. Another test that we all know, the Hollywood test. Will a majority of these attractions be adaptable for the silver screen? Will they all have comprehensible stories? It seems so.
Well, literally every land is, except for Celestial Park, is based off an IP.
Yes.
What's great, though, is that every one of them is an extension of their original stories. Bowser has put forth a new course that is not in any of the video games. The descendant of Dr. Frankenstein is restarting his research. The Ministry of Magic ride takes place after the original Harry Potter movies.
Whoa.
And even the Untrainable Dragon is a new story featuring the characters from How to Train Your Dragon meeting a new dragon.
Holy shit. Oh, that's a mic drop.
Nice. Yeah. And then the park back in theme parks in the middle, which is probably going to have its... And
if that wasn't enough, you could go back to your hotel that has a story as well.
Somehow.
Dude, I mean, another pass. 5 for 5. We're flying here. Test number 6 here. The California Adventure Test. How likely is this to be in need of a total park upgrade in the future?
I don't think so. It might be in the need of a new land, the way that Islands of Adventure needed the Hogsmeade edition.
Yeah.
But like it'll get it. Like whether it's Lord of the Rings or what, there's a gigantic 20-acre spot over to the right of this that they could put a whole new portal in. But I don't think you're gonna need to redo any of these lands anytime soon.
You're not gonna need to redo any of like the entrance to the park or a land in general or just axe a land completely. There's gonna be none of that. I feel like
it already feels like this park needs new lands, like Epcot World Showcase needs pavilions, as in they don't really. Like, I love World Showcase just the way it is. If they happen to come in, like, great, more cool new stuff, but it doesn't seem like we're deprived of any of that. And I don't think with the amount of, time and money and, everything they've learned from previous lands, I don't see it. I see them knocking it out of the park, and if anything, it'll just be additions, not fixes.
This world-class test section is just going to be fucking stoked. That is clearly an underpass there.
Is it 2025 yet?
6 for 6. Test number 7, the AMC test.
We come to this place for magic.
Will the majority of attractions in this park feature screen technology? Will heartbreak not feel good in a place like this?
This is a tough one. This is
this is the only one I could see it maybe taking an L, because I don't know enough about the inner workings of a lot of the e-tickets, but I have to imagine. Now, here's the thing. When I was devising this, I mean it in that it's dependent on the screen tech.
Okay.
Not does it just like have it every now and then. Because Harry Potter Forbidden Journey is dependent on the screen tech, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I mean, yes, I think the 3 if you count Mario Kart. Is Mario Kart dependent on the screen tech? Does the screens on your eyeballs count?
I would say so, yeah.
It's kind of a gray area, but yeah.
I think all 3 indoor main e-ticket rides here are dependent on screen technology in some way, yes.
Ooh. Oh, man. Is this going to be the first?
But here's the thing. They're all different. They're not just slap on some 3D glasses and here's a dome screen. They are very, very different experiences using different types of screens. I based on your test, I'd say it fails.
Yeah, because if you look at like an e-ticket roster, like at Disneyland, 90% of them don't even have a screen, and they don't need it. So
the Yoshi ride doesn't have screens. Starfall Racers doesn't have screens. The spinning roller coaster, it's all the secondary attractions and then the big roller coaster that don't have screens. Donkey Kong doesn't have screens.
Oh, nice.
That's one that's pretty, it's all like a lot of animatronics on that one. So, that's impressive in its own right. But like the 3 gigantic indoor rides.
So you think even the Dark Universe one, you think will have enough substantial screen use?
Oh yeah, no, yeah. But in a way that is different. I don't want to like give it away, but it's so different that you're going to be like, oh, I get it. It's fine.
In that respect, I think I'm going to have to fail it, and we could come back after we go on them.
Well, that's the thing. It's like,
right.
just by the virtue of the test, like I agree. I think it's a fail. However, it could just be done so uniquely and so so well and seamlessly
for now.
Potentially, but for now, I'd say fail.
No, I'm saying for now. We thought the same thing about Harry Potter, and then as time went on, we were like, oh, those screens kind of blow. You know what I'm saying? Like in the moment, it's like, this is crazy. 10 years from now, that's the biggest complaint about Universal Parks is that screens have overtaken them. Because
it could go the way of Spider-Man in '99 or maybe Transformers. A decade or so,
2011 to now,
is very similar ride style and like ride tech. However, I think the Spider-Man one just translates still better to this day.
But we don't know which one it's going to be. Just going by the facts.
I saw that episode, by the way. I still love Transformers. I hate the Transformers movies. Hate them. But I love the Transformers ride. And I think it's because a single rider, I can just walk right in.
Oh yeah, single rider.
I honestly think that's 50% of why I like that ride. But
so I'm going to go fail.
Yeah.
All right. 6 for 7. Moving into test number 8. But before we do that, let's have a word from our sponsors. And I just realized I haven't done any sponsor throws this entire episode, so we're just gonna have to.
It's fine. I always just like cut them like at fun, like ha ha,
and we're back. Let's see how this bad boy lands. Don't scream at us in the comments. Test number 8. The no ticket test.
No ticket.
Will there be enough e-tickets on opening day, or will Indiana Jones have to throw them off a plane? Because this is a deep cut, but in Last Crusade, there's that scene when Indiana Jones asks for tickets, no tickets, and throws the Nazi into a pirate.
I know it from Jay and Silent Bob, but
either way.
Is it a dirigible or is it a plane?
Oh, you're right. It's actually one of those
It's like the Hindenburg
It's
thing.
the Hindenburg, yeah, kind of thing, yeah. Either way, very funny scene. I just wanted to use that bite. Will there be enough e-tickets on opening day? Now,
this whole park is e-tickets. That's the problem.
Also, here's just for reference, I went ahead and I counted the number of e-tickets, according to me, at 3 of my favorite theme parks. Disneyland, there's 8. Indy, Space, Thunder, Haunted Mansion, Pirates, Tiana, Rise, Matterhorn. You can make an argument for Jungle, Smugglers, or Star Tours. I left them out. Let's call it 8. Islands of Adventure, Hagrid's, Velocicoaster, Forbidden Journey, Hulk, Jurassic River Adventure, 5. Epcot, Cosmic Rewind, Test Track, Mission Space, maybe, Frozen, Ratatouille, Soarin', that's 6. So it seems like the baseline, and I consider all 3 of those world-class theme parks, would be 5.
Okay.
You left out Living with the Land, by the way.
That is not an e-ticket attraction.
I did not hear it.
I love that
but I heard
ride.
Mission Space for some reason.
I love that ride.
Mission Space with its 15 minutes
I
usually?
said Mission Space question mark, to be clear.
Here's the thing. Are you going to count Donkey Kong Minecart Madness?
I think so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Yes.
Monsters Unchained.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ministry of Magic.
Yes.
Starfall Racers.
Yes.
And that's not even getting to Dragons.
So yeah, 5. There you go. Dragons would be 6.
If you were to count the coaster or the show. Like, I don't know if you wanted to count those, but even if you don't, let's go with 5.
It's kind of crazy. I don't want to sound like a homer here, but the fact that Disneyland has 8, pretty fucking cool. It's just like every time you talk about e-tickets, Disneyland's lineup is always like, damn, that's a good lineup. And
but but here's the thing: I think this is going to cover a much wider spectrum of age brackets per e-ticket.
It's not like that park opened with all those e-tickets either.
No, it did not.
I heard at least 3 there that weren't there in the first 20 years.
No, and also if you really want to be kind of a stickler, this is going to piss people off. There are some that were e-tickets that maybe aren't. I consider Haunted Mansion an e-ticket. I could see some people not. I could see some people.
No, it is.
To me, it is. But to like an average person, it's like, dude, when are we going to go upside down? Like
the Tiki Bird room was an e-ticket when it first opened. It was number of animatronics, therefore e-ticket.
Pirates, you could also
things change.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, according to me, it has 8. All right, that's a pass for me. Pass across the board.
Pass.
Okay.
Pass.
7 for 8. Moving on to test number 9. The tasty trilogy test. Sorry. Will there be at least 1 decent quick service option, 1 decent table service option, and 1 decent elevated dining option in this park?
There's at least 2 good elevated dining options.
Yeah.
There's at least 3, in my opinion, good quick service. The Mead Hall over in the How to Train Your Dragon is a quick service location. So this big giant like meeting hall from the movies with like the fire pit in the center and the long tables, like that is one of the quick service locations.
That's
like I can imagine being served like a giant turkey leg, like a Viking mug and stuff. Like there's like each of the lands has what they're called upscale quick service, where you like place an order and they give you a little buzzer or whatever. You go back to your table. There's one in Monsters. We haven't even talked about it. There's one in Monsters, which is rumored to be called Das Steakhouse, and that's steak, like steak through the heart steak.
Oh,
we haven't even talked
man.
about that. Like there's 2
I didn't know
over
that
at the
one.
Wizarding World. Yeah. So there's a lot of quick service. And then the smaller restaurants in the hub, there's smaller like food stands. There's a bao bun place. There's a fancy popcorn place. There's
Fancy popcorn.
Flavored popcorn.
Your favorite.
Oh,
Your favorite. You love the flavor.
Well,
popcorn.
no, I don't endorse funny corn, but I will say if they have some nice butter and salt, I'll also get that there.
Well, yeah, and some popcorn buckets. No, but I think there's a lot of options, and we didn't talk about like the Oak and Star Tavern is a quick service with smoked barbecue food.
Oh man.
In the hub. So there's a lot of good places to eat, and at least 2 full service restaurants that look really impressive.
I mean, it pretty much crushed that test. Then, yeah, I can't wait. I guess that's another easy pass.
I haven't seen it before effectively in a Universal park. However, I do think it's going to happen here. So,
and it was part of their presentation that they said, great dining. The dining was part of the presentation, which you don't often see when people are advertising a theme park. So it makes me believe they wouldn't say that unless they were confident in it.
Some of the City Walk locations in recent years have been getting better, and I think that's more illustrative of what we're going to see in the Celestial Park dining locations.
All right. Well, past that, 8 for 9. Moving on to test number 10. Let's see if we could get this at 9 for 10. The fine wine test. Do we believe this park will age well? Will it stand the test of time?
I mean, yes, because the center is all that matters. I think the center, as long as they nail the Celestial Park, they can gut the lands and put a new portal up and it would still work.
That's a good point. I didn't think about it like that, because one of the things that makes Disneyland so timeless is that hub kind of structure, and then Main Street is so iconic. And this is like Main Street if Main Street had a fucking e-ticket roller coaster in the middle of it. Wow, that's a good point.
You completely demolish How to Train Your Dragon or Wizarding World and not affect the rest of the park and build something completely new if it felt dated or if there was any reason to do such a thing. And it's because of this unique design. There's not even a loop like you would get at a Disney Castle park. So it doesn't affect the rest of the park.
And they have room to keep growing. And
they have a lot of room to grow.
Yeah, I couldn't see how this isn't going to just keep aging beautifully.
And like you said, like Celestial Park is like, it kind of has a timeless feel. So, and if that's kind of like the beating heart,
it's pretty.
This is definitely a pass.
Yeah, this is definitely a pass for me as well.
I mean, when was the last time we were this excited about a theme park opening?
Never.
Never. I mean, we've never had a lead up like this.
Well, that's Alicia. Do you agree on a pass on that? I'm going to imagine yes. Okay, that's a pass. Then it's 9 for 10. Congratulations to Epic Universe. I always say congratulations as if they care, but congratulations to Epic Universe. You are a world-class theme park, according to us, before we've been there. We will probably revisit this at some point in the future. We'll be happy to do so. Please have us out, Universal. We will come. For now, thank you for coming on to the pod, Alicia, and staying with us for this extra epic-sized episode. I'm sorry we kept you so late.
It's very fitting. It's fitting for it's what she deserves, the Epic Universe.
No, this was maybe the most fun I've had on this show, just because it was truly a geek out session. Man. What a fantastic time we've had here. Also, before we let you go, is there anything that you would like to plug? I know that before we started recording, you had mentioned that you are actually a credited writer on the Unofficial Guide to Universal Orlando, which I believe you have a book of that there.
I'm a contributing author for the Universal Orlando Unofficial Guide. Check it out wherever books are sold. It's actually in bookstores if you can find one of those. But you really want to get next year's edition because this book's about to get a third thicker. So want to look for that.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
But you can find me at Theme Park Stop on YouTube. I'm posting everything we talked about and so much more. As we get closer to Epic Universe, I might be putting out like hour-long videos because we have so much to talk about.
I would love that because it would make it easier because I watch your videos during lunch. And I wish there was more for me to chew food to. And also, could you hit us with the URL for your website? Because I also sometimes enjoy reading the blog post version of your videos.
Yeah,
which you do.
I always do. And there's more articles than there are videos. It's orlandoparkstop.com, but it's going to eventually be rethemed. So just type in themeparkstop.com because I'm branching out to more than just Orlando. You know, we got that UK rumor happening.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, because like if you don't want to see the video or if you prefer reading things, she does article versions of her videos, which I don't know anybody else who's doing that. It's incredible.
Well, technically I've been doing the writing before the video, so like it made sense to me to just keep doing that too.
I just don't know how you have the time in the day to do these things. But once again, thank you for coming on. And for everyone else that's listening, thank you for listening or watching. If you're watching this over on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and like the video. And if you're listening, subscribe to the podcast and rate this bad boy 5 stars. We're at FYA Pod on socials. I'm at Ryan Bergara on Instagram, at Ryan S. Bergara on Twix. And Byron is at Byron A. Marin on all these socials. But until next time, we'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching.
Awesome. Thank you, Alicia.
Bye-bye.
Bye.